I'm here with my co-host Candy Nelson. We have Eric the Watcher, and also we have Kristen. Do you want to say your last name, or are you good with Kristen?
We'll
It's up to you. So we
Kristen's
have
fine.
4 of us. This is a quad show, and we're going to be discussing EMFs and demonic activity, something that I believe a lot of us are experiencing to some respect, or could be questionable if that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you start, Eric and Kristen, with what you experienced tonight, just earlier.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll give just a more detailed explanation of what just happened here. So first of all, to set the stage, I was in Jacksonville, and Kristen had been chatting with Lisa for a few months now, and she found out that I'm here, wanted to connect, talk on the phone. I'm like, holy cow, you're just right there. I'll stop. I'll come on down and say hi. And so here we are, and she's telling me all these stories about hearing growling sounds.
My sleeping. It's all in her sleep.
In her sleep, yeah.
I watched a YouTube guy and he told me you tape record your sleeping. If you're not sleeping well. I didn't realize. I mean, I know I wasn't sleeping well. I didn't realize I was sleeping that poorly. Where I'm carrying a conversation with this deep, and I don't have to play it for you.
Not to be mistaken with the ick part at the end. So yes, for the D, right?
Yeah. It's and they're all different. I had one the other night. This is the one. The latest one was like 2 nights ago, where the tape recording went on for 3 hours, stopped itself, okay, and then started itself back up again on my phone. And you have to physically touch the phone in order to start and stop the recording thing.
How long was the gap?
It was a 2-hour gap I was missing.
Oh my gosh.
So missing time is another thing.
And I came back with bruises. That morning I was bruised up all over my body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got these stories, and within like 10 minutes of me arriving here, I had to go get something in my car.
And you didn't know the story then?
No, and she didn't even, right. So I had to go get something in my car, and it's just right out front of her house here. So I go out there, and when I got about 8 feet away from the car, I've unlocked it. I'm starting to reach for the door, and I hear this extremely low pitch, guttural growl, like from something that's big. I mean, this isn't like even a medium size or big dog. This is like something you'd expect to come out of like a giant gorilla. I mean, this was like a big.
That's not good.
This was like a big air box,
Yeah, well, you should see his face because he walks back and he goes, "There's sound out there."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked her, is there some kind of like big neighbor dog or something that I'm not seeing? I mean, it's not hidden. It's
tall
white
grass. Is pretty much
just some grass, nothing really and the whole time that I'm hearing this and initially looking at that area, I'm looking for an animal, and I'm like, no, there's nowhere for an animal to hide in the area that
I can feel it. I knew it was there. There's these like humps. Do you see that? Like those grass humps?
Yeah, just little.
They're almost like but there's like 3 or 4.
Almost just like 2 feet high. Nothing
so like I was, and sometimes I know they're there, and I just swear at them or whatever.
Yeah, so she comes out right away and almost like expecting for me to say what I said, and she wasn't surprised at all when I said what I said. There's no neighbor dog. There was nothing there.
And then I went and just grabbed my phone and just played 2 seconds, out of all my stuff. I go, did it sound like this? And I put headphones on him.
Yeah.
And he goes,
I know that sound well.
Yeah. And it was a dead match for what she had recorded, like both in tone and the timbre or whatever. So, and I'm not, and to to paint a better picture here, I'm someone that used to hunt a lot in my childhood, and I know sounds outside. I know where stuff. I can position anything three-dimensionally. If it's an animal up high behind me, 45 feet, like I'm going to turn around and be within just a couple feet of where I heard something. So I'm not some city dweller that thinks he heard something.
Every sound is that. Yeah. No, I
Well,
get you, because same here.
the whole thing boils down to this: is that I've been doing research on it, trying to figure out what it was. I don't feel scared going to sleep, which is what the first question people say, because I've only heard it through me tape recording my sleep. I don't hear it. I didn't hear it. I'd never heard it like he heard it, like outside.
I always find it in my videos, usually with
weird stuff, that comes through. So but it doesn't make me afraid. So I'm not afraid. I have to stop myself from taping myself because I really don't want to know, honestly, because but I really do believe a lot of this is it's riding in on waves. I do know that there are the frequencies. I do know that there's like the AI, whatever, it picks up kind of like along the way voices,
Different,
whatever,
sure.
little snippets of people's human voices. And it's so, because you could never understand it. It's not like a sentence, but it's like, but this isn't the same thing, because I am actually interacting with this thing in my sleep. I'm saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then it's saying, no, I own you.
I listened to it. I heard you say, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And it's just like, so that's not like something riding in on the EMF wave, or RF wave, whatever. So,
yeah, I think,
who knows?
A lot of us experiencing strangeness, like the high strangeness in that aspect.
Well, yeah,
the growling, Eric even heard one of mine. I thought, because he has one too, and I was comparing, like, did it sound like this? And he said, no, it was different. So
just what was that, like 2 weeks ago? I was outside, just going from one house to the other, maybe like 150 feet away. And just when I thought the thought, oh, I wonder if I'm going to hear something weird, because Lisa has just been telling me all these stories. Then immediately I hear this weird noise, like a growl, whimper, like something so strange. And again, out in the open, no animal there. And I heard it twice.
It's scary too. Like, it shakes you for a minute.
Yeah. Heard it once. Went back in the other house, grabbed a flashlight, came back out. And when I got to the same area, I heard the same sound from the same location, out in the open with nowhere to hide, no animal to be seen.
So when we could actually, the only way we could actually differentiate would be to record and then have the technology which breaks it down and takes, separates out the different frequencies, which you saw on my phone. My phone is like, it's just a general recording, but you can see it goes nothing and then big, which means something's making noise. Yeah. It's not just so there are ways for us to, delve into it a little more if that's a concern of anybody else's, I really don't at this point with everything going on in the world,
It's getting more prominent.
Right.
Andy, did you ever have anything like that? Any noises that you heard that were unhumanly? Anything that registers with you?
Me personally, like, I think I was probably maybe 9-10 years old. We decided we were going to go fishing at this little pond. It was me and my younger brother, my mom, and my dad. So my mom and I were at this little pond area, and we're fishing, and my dad tells my brother, he's like, come on, let's just take a little walk a little deeper in the woods. So they left us there. We're just sitting there fishing quietly, peacefully, and we hear that deep growling noise, and we're both looking, thinking, okay, so we're looking over in the woods where it's coming from. We didn't see anything. And again, maybe the grass was like maybe 2 feet high.
I just get the chills just thinking about it.
And, the growling's getting louder. It's getting closer, and we don't see anything. And we actually saw the grass moving, and there was nothing.
Yeah, you do. That's another thing. You do see that.
And so, after a few minutes, we were just like, kind of waiting to see. We didn't know what in the world it was, so we just grabbed our poles and started running our asses off and got the hell out of there. We don't even know what that was. And
I
that was
watched, like,
probably
I could
9,
actually
10 years
see
old.
figures out one night playing. Like, they looked like animals almost, but they were the transparent, kind of half manifested, half not.
Yep.
And my dogs were out there rolling and playing with them. As God
Wow.
is my witness, like,
Yeah.
this
Well,
happened.
like I said,
And I
the
would
grass,
never say that because I would be in vain. And I know that, I know what I saw and I know he knows what I'm saying.
yeah, the
They
grass was
were,
actually moving like something was coming through there, but there
That's
was
what
they're
too.
like,
I
there.
wondered why the grass would, you think that there, but that means that there has to be something solid enough to move grass. It's not just the wind, because I'll always look around, and go like, wind isn't over there, but it's moving here,
Or
right?
if it's cloaked. I mean, so many things have went through my mind, but I mean, these were animals, and the grass was moving, or they were like animals. They had the characteristics and the, as far as they're interacting with my
Mhm.
dogs, but you could clearly see they were like ghosts. I don't know how else to explain it.
Interesting.
It was so strange, but the
Interesting.
grass was moving as well.
Mhm. Which means that
And I'm like, are they cloaked? I mean, what is this?
it's cloaked. I think
It
that's
was
the
one of
best
my
term.
earliest experiences. It was, and I mean, I know what I was seeing, and I mean,
Okay.
there's just no denying it.
Interesting. So in the
Yeah.
spirit realm, everything isn't a like humanoid shape, right? So maybe there's all these
Other types too.
different
I've seen
types of
different types.
beasts and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
had a cat. I had a cat too at one time.
Hi,
She
Britt.
really didn't like anybody in the house, but she like snuggle up to me and we're just sitting there calmly and petting her. She's chilled, relaxed. And then all of a sudden she would just jump up on her feet and start, at thin air, just. And then next thing you know, it's like she's looking like something's there and start like swatting and for no reason. And then all of a sudden she just freak out and run off.
I mean, animals have a keen sense to, like, I mean, any of you that saw my earlier videos, my dogs were always what made me aware of something present. If they were cool, calm, and collected, I knew the coast was clear. It never lasted
Yeah.
long. I mean, the second I would watch them stare off in different directions, or ears perk up, or their attention become, drawn and directed in a certain, area, I always knew. And sure enough, I pick up the video camera, which is odd. The video cameras can pick up a lot of these things that we cannot see with our physical eyes, but yet our animals.
Oh
tend
yeah,
to
and
be able to
babies too. Have you ever noticed that? Like some babies,
Oh yeah,
like
they're innocent. I think it's
yeah, it's
something
like
like
you'll be laying there, and like I said, they're not talking or anything yet, but
non-tainted souls,
you just
maybe.
know they're like following something around the room and with their eyes, just turning their head, looking, and
right. Right.
it's weird.
Yeah, and of course that's related to the invisible friend phenomena, right?
I had one.
But not when they're
Yeah.
not when they're not talking yet, and they're just like not really like at a stage where they're at a pretend mode at that point,
Right. Right.
Kristen did too. I saw that in her. She there? I actually
She's
saw that about her. I mean, sometimes I can read people.
in the other room.
Oh, okay. You have to ask her.
I have a similar story. You know how before I was talking about how I was training my replacement at that one job, and there was all these weird things happening. And that one time that the announcement speaker growled at me, and yeah, what I just heard right now is exactly the same growl.
Yeah.
And also to add to what I previously said. A couple nights in my house during that time, I would be just laying there in bed, about to fall asleep. But then on the other side of the bedroom door, I could tell there was a beast standing there growling. And
Candy's
and
seen the things there at the end of the bed too.
and yeah, and it was this was just outside the door, and I just got the sense that it couldn't go past the door, and it was like angry that it couldn't, or something like that.
There's a
And
physical nature that was keeping it from exiting, something to that respect, would you say?
I don't know. I feel like it was angry that it couldn't get any closer.
So you had a protection around you, had God's protection around you.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm sure that's why, because happened to me outside. Like I feel them close and I know they're mad, but they could never ever. I've never had one approach me up close ever.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
yeah. And when I first moved here, my kids would be in school and my husband was gone. I'm home alone, and I'd be in my living room, and it's like I could hear kids laughing and playing in my children's bedroom, and they were not even home.
I believe
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah, I'd just be sitting here listening, and I'm like, what in
Yeah.
the world is going on? So I knew there was nobody home. So I thought, well, maybe they just left their radio on or something like that. And,
I,
I've
so
heard
I'd
other
go to
people
the
say
room.
that.
Yeah,
you have
and
no
then,
idea. You have no
yeah,
idea the memory you just
yeah.
triggered in me.
And then I would come back in the living room thinking, okay, whatever that was. And then the next thing you know, I would hear like stuff moving around. I mean, moving physically, like moving and stuff. And I'd go in there and I'm like, there's nothing there.
I got the chills.
Oh my God. So you just totally triggered a memory for me. Now, this is a very commonly told story from me and one of the guys that used to stay at that same house that I just mentioned about the beast being unable to get through my door. And this is a continuation basically of the story with that one high school friend of mine who was into, his family had all his witches and stuff and whatever. And he moved in and all this stuff started happening. Well, around that same time, a lot of stuff happened. And so here's just one of those things. I can't believe Candy just said what she said because it's so close to one of the stories that me and these guys have parroted over and over for years. So multiple times I would be in the bathroom and I would hear through the heating ducts what sounded like children running around and playing in the basement. And I heard this like 5 times in the span of maybe 3 or 4 months. And then I was and then when stuff started like really ramping up at this house, like all this crazy activity, I was telling this to this other friend that was primarily there, and he completed my sentence when I started to say,
Oh gosh.
"Hey, when I started to say, hey, have you ever been in the bathroom and you hear?" And then he said, "Kids in the basement," is what he just like broke in and said it.
Oh my god.
So there we have me and
Wow, Candy. That's just like yours.
yeah.
That's bizarre. I've never had that happen. I've heard people say that before and almost in that way.
Well, it's really funny because, I always had those things happen to me all my life. Mine was more like a generational curse thing that kind of followed me. But
Right.
so we got out here and our house, it's a brand new mobile home on a raw piece of land. So my husband's like, he's in the bed one night and he got up the next morning. He's like, did you let the cat in the room last night? I'm like, no. And he's like, I woke up several times and it felt like, somebody was on the bed and they were stepping on the bed. And I'm hearing children in the daytime in broad daylight playing in the room, and in his sleep, he's getting woke up several times a night. And he said it felt like a child was like walking on our bed trying to come
Oh
up
my God.
between him. And he said,
Oh wow. Now I can relate to that one too.
He said, I never believed or experienced anything like that before. He's like, and
I experienced that too. Oh my god.
Oh my God. I've had the same thing happen. I've had it where when you're laying in a bed and someone sits on the bed and it goes down
how it
like
feels,
that.
it goes down. Yes.
Oh my God, I've been laying
That
in bed
happened to me too.
and just whomp, it's like the exact same feeling, like someone just sits right next to your head and the bed is depressed. I've had that happen multiple times.
Did you have your covers get tight around you starting from your feet up and just so tight that you couldn't move? Because that's what ended up to me. I mean, and it was real as can be as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I could not move and it just became
what
tight.
happened to me with my oldest daughter. She was just an infant baby, just a few weeks old. I'm at the house and I had the blanket over top my knees and I had her laying on my knees and I'm just holding her little back and I'm just bouncing her and singing to her and playing. Next thing you know, like I said, I had the blankets over my knees and had her on top. I felt something pulling on her. And it's like whatever it was, had her by the ankles and
Oh
was
my
trying
gosh.
to
Oh,
squeeze her.
please. Ooh.
And I couldn't see because the blankets were up over my legs. I'm just holding on to her, and I'm forcefully having to hold on to her because whatever it was like really just trying to take her from me. And I'm like,
Like, I don't know what I would have done. Like, somebody would have died that night. So,
that was
gosh,
that was back in that was like in early 1980s, and she was
that's
just an infant.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I wonder if people in the chat, if you guys, if you have experienced any of these that we're talking about, please put your comments. This is kind of how we all kind of learn and grow and relate. And,
It's just funny, the topic of the conversation tonight, and then next thing you know, it's like all these memories are coming back about
I mean,
things.
well, Eric brought a whole bunch of mine back one night, like stuff I knew, or I guess I knew, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I know the answers to that. It's weird. I think there's strength in numbers. I really believe that. And I believe the more of us that are alike that come together, well, number one, you're going to get growled at, obviously. I mean, Eric, they're going to growl at you, but I mean, they don't like it. They do not like it. Satan does not like
take the
anything
children
like
from
that.
you.
That's why I don't think I'm not in fear. I don't feel that way. You know,
I have no fear left in me.
You know, as far as
whatsoever.
that goes, you think you would, you know, you think you go to, I'd be afraid to go to sleep or what, you know, but no, I'm strong. We're strong. We are
Well,
not as strong in numbers. We're strong in ourselves. You know,
We
Yeah,
can
and
do anything. I guarantee you. We can do
Yeah, and
anything
I
with our minds to.
I just always wondered, I'm like, what if would have happened if they would have got the upper hand and managed to actually pull her away from me?
Oh, that's
Where
terrifying
would,
because I mean,
yeah, where would
children
they
are
have taken her?
abducted constantly like that. If you think
Yeah,
about it, you know they've got a
but there was
freaking
nobody in the
agenda with
room.
there.
There
So
was nobody in the room. There was no animals in the room. There was nothing physically there.
terrifying,
So,
Candy. I can't imagine. Like I said, it would have been on like flipping Donkey Kong with this one. I mean, I was like, even if I'm like swinging in the air because I can't get him. I mean, I'm gonna, like, I can't
yeah,
imagine what she must have felt as a mother.
yeah, I got up and I put her in I put her in her bassinet and got down at the foot of the bed and got down on the floor. I'm looking up underneath the bed. I'm looking in the closet. Doors shut. There was nothing there. I'm
It's
like, holy.
bizarre that the experiences are so similar. I'm sure Kristen probably has some willing to bet very similar to that. Actually, I know she does. She just hasn't piped up yet. And the reason I know is because I can see a lot of Kristen's like memories, I guess. I don't know how I know that sounds weird. But right, Kristen?
yes.
She showed me a picture. It's pretty interesting. It'd be hard to bring it up on the stream here, but I'm sure that we'll share it with you.
It's about, it just shows you the right, the break in the pictures.
It's a predator thing. It looks
yeah,
like
it looks
something
exactly, and there's a baby face. The baby. See the baby
I know
face?
exactly what you're saying because those are the kind I see
And
a lot.
it's it's my back, you know, and so
Can you hold it up to where like, maybe they can get adjust? But I'm those are what I see. So
this is obviously a thing. I mean, we've all got stories with a lot of overlap here, and you know, a thought that just came into my mind is when this started happening, that was within the first months or like right away when the first digital cell phone towers went up.
Yeah.
In my area that was around the house that all these crazy things started happening. So so to bring that into relation to here and now today, so I get here and I start setting up my camera and my laptop here, and in her whole, it seems like the central circle of the house here, if I'm sitting right here, which is about only 8 feet away from over there, if I go over there, my whole head is ringing. There's so much EMF here.
That's a very strong indication of that something's
lovely to live here.
You need to move, girlfriend.
So, yeah. There's so much EMF.
Britt just made a comment. I'm sorry.
Who did?
Britt made a comment saying she believes it to be in the astral because we're never completely awake. I think she brought up a good point there with what we were talking about.
Well, I was awake outside right here.
I totally experienced awake too, but like when we were talking about that feeling in bed when they're creeping up like that.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like when she was recorded with, I think a lot of people experience them messing with them a lot, and I think Britt's correct in that aspect of in the astral when you're in that
It's a
area.
different realm. It's a different realm, and and if I had somebody that had good audio to break down what I have, you could. I mean, I've got my earphones on, of course, listening intently. I mean, and I'm not trying to. I really don't want to find anything, so I'm not trying to read into it. But I mean, there's words. I mean, it's not. So first of all, number one, it can't be completely out of space because it's English. Okay, right? That I'm hearing. So I'm hearing English words. I'm reacting in my sleep, like talking back to in English. So that in itself is kind of, it takes it out of the devil kind of thing, I mean, or whatever. To me, I mean, so to me, it feels more like I don't know, not biological.
Targeting. It's targeting.
Like our government kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what it feels like.
Targeting.
More like that because,
Yeah.
like targeted kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Just like God. What is it? Was it had their? What is it called? God to skull.
Oh, voice to skull.
Voice to skull. I mean, kind of.
I mean, yeah.
Because they're speaking English.
And if it's an electronics-based
Yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
then it could be a combination of
Yeah.
technology and spirit realms.
We don't know.
You
And
never know.
I think they open up each other, kind of.
Yeah, certainly my stories of being in that job in my last week, it was obvious that there was an electrical component to this. Remember how I was saying
things are getting zapped out.
my
Jeez.
computer, the fuse that I was on kept getting blown. I would take out the lights above me, like it was just a bunch of tube lights all throughout this building, and much of the building was a factory. So tons of really long fluorescent tube lights, and I would walk around and they would go out underneath me. I actually tested it. I would walk back and forth, and then it was a reproducible thing that I had witnesses for. And then that thing that growled at me, it's almost like it was following me, but then just to make the growling sound, it's like it temporarily jumped over into the announcement speaker just so it could utilize
it needs to get, because it can't otherwise.
Yeah. And maybe, what I just heard now outside, that was like self-generated. That there's no speaker out there. There's no computer.
No, but there is my lines, the red lines I keep telling you. They tell me right. That's exactly where the red line come in.
And it was right underneath an electrical pole out there.
That I have issues with. Red lines only coming through, and like a spider web.
Yeah.
They're talking about.
Oh, can you hear me?
No, we can't.
I can hear you. I just can't hear Lisa.
Oh, Lisa's talking muted or something.
Sorry.
Okay.
Like frequencies.
I
muted myself for a minute. I was agreeing, obviously my lips. Your lips don't
So,
move.
So I'm gonna have Eric, while he's here, climb underneath my house.
No.
Because I have a crawl space, and that's where I saw all the red wires, only red.
We were all muted just now.
web.
Did you know that?
Huh?
Every single one of us got muted.
Did we?
I didn't touch it.
Did you?
Hey,
Did you
Kristen,
have to?
Kristen,
Every
you have
single
to
one
unmute?
of us were muted.
Kristen, you know what you can do? You can get
It's
some
getting
shade.
bad.
Kristen, you can get some.
Wait,
That's
Kristen,
never happened.
you had to
Kristen.
unmute me just now?
I just now had to unmute all of us. I could hear you guys the whole time. And then all of a sudden, all that, on my side, I can control who does what, right? And
Yeah.
it'll show your little speaker.
So if I'm muted,
They were all in the red. Mine, Candy's, every single one of them in the red. All of them.
so you can see when I'm muting this.
I can't see when you do it, but from my end, it was all red.
Okay.
And I've never saw that before, even from my end. So
Welcome to my world.
I mean, we get jacked with a lot like that, especially when we try strength in numbers. It goes back to strength in numbers. But I mean, I didn't mute myself, I don't think. Well, actually, earlier I did, but I unmuted it. And I literally was just sitting here because you guys heard me talking for a while, right? And then all of a sudden, I guess I wasn't hearable.
Yeah.
I mean, and I looked down and you guys are all muted too, like every one of us. But I could still hear you guys I want to know if the people in the chat could hear us the whole time or if our lips were just moving. If somebody please comment on that, because that was literally bizarre.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe when we're saying the most hard hitting
Poignant
thing.
things.
Yeah. Like here comes the hard hitting thing. Boom! It's all muted.
When
Anyway,
you said under the light pole, I mean immediately everything was muted, and my response to that was electromagnetic frequencies traveling and utilizing.
Yeah.
You know, those forms and methods
exactly.
of
So
being able to.
Again, I may have not mentioned it on stream, maybe just to you, Lisa. There's that one movie with the demon that just keeps hopping from one person to another.
And you guys, it was Denzel Washington. It was,
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was with Denzel and me. I don't know. Yeah, but there was a demon hopping from, and it eventually came into him, right?
Yep.
So it really,
And then he finally got it.
So really, what I think the main lesson I want to relay to the watchers of this is that it's somehow this electricity stuff.
We knew that was going to happen.
Is a vehicle.
Yes. I mean, they told us it was going to happen. 5G towers.
Transport themselves through it. I guarantee you. I've seen it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if that
so
makes
we
sense.
have we're all kind of at the same point, but we are being affected in lots of ways.
I mean, I 100% agree, especially Eric. I mean, I've had that thought, and plus I saw something one night that indicated that they transport themselves through electrical outlets and energy devices of all sorts, whether it be radio or, I mean, anything that's got an electrical. But I mean, I watched them travel through light. Like I watched one night this weird, it was like a ball of light travel through, you know, the telephone lines that go, you know, from pole to pole, right? I watched this thing go on for about, as far as I could see, so maybe, you know, a quarter of a mile. This light just traveled down, and it wasn't like a normal, like just an electrical current or a charge or a static or something. It was a bubble. It was a bubble, and there was something in that bubble. So
like following the electric line.
Yes. Like utilizing that as a method of transportation from pole to pole. I watched this thing go as far as my eyes could follow down, you know, until I lost vision just due to my own vision. And who knows how far it actually went.
And was it totally silent?
Totally silent. Didn't hear any crackling or anything like that.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it was night.
Where was this?
No, I take that back. I heard the initial crackle upon it
was what she's talking about. It was moving,
showing up.
Moving.
So I heard like a static electricity sound when it initially like showed up, because I was already outside videoing a cloud. So I heard this crackle, and ironically, none of that video I could find anywhere. But I heard a crackle when it showed up, and then it was silent all the way down. So I don't know. It was weird.
I something that happened to me years ago, and to this day, I will not sleep without socks on my feet. But I would lay down to go to sleep at night. I lay down to go to sleep at night, and I'm like sleeping in the bed, sound asleep. Next thing you know, I feel like something was like tickling my feet, and I'm like, okay, I'm sound asleep, and I'm feeling this. And next thing you know, it wasn't like fingers; it was like lightly tickled, just enough to wake me up to let me know it was there. And then the next thing you know, I've got these like claws, these hands with like really long fingers, and it was slimy, and there was like long claws. And next thing you know, it's like they're massaging my feet and then going up my calves and up my legs. And I'm like, once it got up past my kneecap, and I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I'm up in the middle of the bed.
Not today.
I'm up in the middle of the bed.
Yeah, we're
Flip the light on. And I'm like, what the
Candy,
hell?
man, we don't let anybody pass our kneecaps. Come on.
So I'm like, but anyway, I mean, so I was like, okay, the first couple of times, you know, I'm like, okay, it's just a nightmare. And so then one night I woke up in the middle of the night, and I guess the thing was mad because, I mean, I'm like, before it got past my thighs, I was like stopping this thing, but I'm sound asleep, middle of the night. I wake up, and this thing is like over top of me. I'm laying on the bed, and it's like over top of me. I mean, the wildest hair and just long fangs and the long slimy fingers. And I'm like, and it's like growling at me, and I'm like, oh my God in heaven. So yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy
I think we
stuff.
could just say, hey, baby.
I was like, I
What
often
do you do?
wondered, I was like, oh my God, was that like real or was that me in my old age or what the hell was that? I didn't have any idea because, like I said, it had like really a lot of hair and it was all wild and like it had been in the woods living for all its life or something. I'm like,
Jeez.
holy crap.
I gotta ask Brent because she actually, I think I told you all about that strange the night that lady, I was on surveillance watching my subject, and there was a lady, I looked over to my right holding this wrought iron fence, and you could just see all the demonic entity on her, through her.
Remember that.
You guys remember that, right? So Britt,
Mhm.
do you remember what that was called? Because I was just looking for that on my own channel, and I don't remember even what I called that at this point, but I was going to play a clip of it because it's freaky, and it shows you an example of what many of us experience and see sometimes daily.
There's
Mm.
too
But
many
I'm gonna
people
keep
that have it
looking
not
for
be
a
real.
minute. I can't remember what I called it though. So if I
Well,
find it though, you guys got to see a clip of it because it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
made a good point there. I forgot all about that for a moment. Although I was just telling someone about it last night. I think it was, who was that? I guess it was Sam. I think maybe.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
a question. I have a question. You guys are, is it everybody seeing things out of the corner of their eyes, like more,
All
like
the
that
time.
whole,
Yeah.
like really, like I have to keep my
Found it.
eye from turning because I know that I'm only going to see it peripherally, kind
Yeah.
of. I mean, but
Yeah.
way more than normal. Like like a lot. As far as like, it used to be just like a blink or something.
I
Yeah,
used
it's
to, not so much
I know
anymore.
that's
I used to
paranormal.
all the
I
time
sat
though.
there holding it.
Yeah.
Me being me and doing the job I'm that I
Yeah.
do,
show
of
you
course, I immediately grabbed my camera and I took a picture of it. And it wasn't until I got home later, after the episode with
Look at my
the
window,
UFO on the
too.
way home as well. And I don't care what anyone says, that's what it is. I couldn't identify it, and I'm sure you can't either. That's neither here nor there. When I got home and I looked at the picture of that woman, and I zoomed in, my arm hair stood straight on end. I felt like I had just had the breath knocked right out of me, and I'm not even kidding. You're getting ready to see, but all I can say is be
Can you go
prepared
full
because
screen?
demons are everywhere.
Can
And
you go full
demons are
screen
real,
with this?
but your God is bigger.
Okay, let me.
Keep in mind that handprint is no longer, and I sure didn't wipe it off. Speaking of hands, check hers out. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I think her hands are the least of my concern. Just wait till you see her head. Okay, hold on. Let me go back just a little bit. I'm gonna have to come back with just a second. Woman, and I zoomed
That
in.
handprint,
My
guys,
arm hair
my car
stood
was always
straight on
spotless for
end.
what I do for a
I
living.
felt
so
like I had just had the breath knocked right out of
in the
me,
beginning,
and
I
I'm
talked
not
about
even
how
kidding.
something slapped
You're
my
getting ready
window.
to see, but all I can say is be prepared because demons are everywhere, and demons are real, but your God is bigger. Keep in mind that handprint is no longer on my window, and I sure didn't wipe it off. Speaking of hands, check hers out. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I think her hands are the least of my concern. Just wait till you see her head. I get the chills every time I look at this.
Holy cow. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at
plain
that.
as day, huh?
That's
Yeah, I'm telling you, it freaked me out so bad. I got
yeah.
lots of different stuff on
So,
here, but
um,
let me stop this.
given
Sorry. 1 second.
given my theory of these things using electricity as some kind of vehicle for easy travel, well, now we know why we all have Wi-Fi and cell
Phones stuck to our
phone
ears,
towers everywhere
Yep.
and phones in our hand. It's
Microwave,
They're just-
everything. I can feel it walking in my kitchen.
yeah,
I got
Yeah.
smart
The-
freaking shit.
this world system just wants there to be gateways everywhere so that these things have unlimited access to our first world everywhere that's fully wired up, and that's why when I go camping and you're laying outside, it's just a totally different feel. Even if you turn off everything in your home, even if you turn off your Wi-Fi, even if you unplug everything, the average house,
It's
there's the wires in the wall.
It's flying through
The
air.
the wires in the wall have, they're leaking EMF. Almost no one's house is very well shielded for that kind of thing. And I actually used to live in this when I was renting this house in Walnut Creek, California. The back side of the house was separated from like the refrigerator and the water heater and stuff, and I could actually go over to the fuse box and completely cut the power to that part of the house, and that's where I slept. And so I actually got to sleep in
the best
in that cool like camping feel where it's just like so peaceful because of the electricity just in the immediate walls was just not there.
There's so many weird things going on all levels, and I have some people in the chat that have brought up some good points. So Britt also asked, that entity on that woman's head, if I thought it was related to Morgellons. So I think Morgellons is just a small piece of the puzzle, a picture of it. I think the Morgellons that we see, and yes, I mean, if I had to like visualize what we see as far as Morgellons go, the entity reminds me of what we first experienced. But you got to remember, we woke up to just knowing that first. When in all actuality, people are waking up, not to be mistaken with woke, but spiritually being awakened all over the world, whether they're whatever woke them be, Bigfoot, UFO, supernatural type stuff, encounters with ghosts or supernatural objects or Morgellons. I think that these things all intertwine, and the entities are entities at the end of the day, not necessarily Morgellons related, but just related to biblical scripture. And that's just my thoughts on this, but related to what we were told we would see in the demonic entities that dwell within our world, and with Satan being the ruler and the leader and the principalities of evil in the air and sky, here on earth, all around. It kind of goes hand in hand. And that's, again, my opinion. I don't claim to have the answers, but I see what she absolutely says, or he, sorry, I'm not sure exactly, because I have a cousin, Mel, that has Terry spelled with an I. So I'm just making sure, but I just know that there's a lot of people experiencing that, and some of them have never had any of the signs or symptoms of Morgellons per se. Even though
I've got an interesting thought that just came to mind. I may have alluded to something like this before, but you know how in the Bible it's talking about Lucifer as the prince of the power of the air, and we've also got Zeus as a representation of Satan. He's casting lightning bolts down from the sky.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be more even verbose about pondering about this, I mean, what is the power of the air? It's lightning.
Electricity.
Electricity.
We are electricity.
Yeah.
That's what we're made of. We die.
We're electric
without
beings. It's an electric universe.
Yep.
I mean, totally makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to go as far as to say I think our souls may be somehow electric.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, we are like our heart beats to keep the electric flow going. I mean, it's 100%. To me, that's always been
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and another thing too, I was thinking about how common. Okay, this has got to be common because I experienced it so many times in my life. Well, I'd be walking all by myself, and nothing, nowhere around, no trees, no nothing, and just have this overwhelming feeling that someone was following me, and I mean, like almost overbearing, where it's like, you're looking and you don't see anybody, and it's like. It's negative, whatever it is, it's negative. So you're trying to not feel that way because you're looking and you don't see anything. And I remember so many times as a kid, it being so terrified of what I couldn't see that I knew was there. I would just run as fast as I could. But I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that in the course of their lives, but
Yes.
I've had that happen many times.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat here are chiming in too about that. I don't know. Can you guys see when I put their questions up on the screen? Y'all can see that too as well, correct? You all. I've been in Texas too long. Y'all can see that too, right?
What's up?
Can you all see the questions that I put up on the screen when I have someone in the chat that asks questions or?
Yeah, we were looking at.
comments.
Yeah,
You
I
can
can
see it.
see.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And Terry with an I is a female. Thank you for clarifying, Britt. And then the question was also asked by Britt: do we think it could possibly be AI? Which is a very good question because
I
AI is
absolutely
a
think
lot of
it
things.
is, and yes,
Well, I want
in
to talk.
different forms of it.
I
I
don't
want to
think
talk a little bit.
it's just AI though. I mean, in
No,
biblical sense.
no.
Well, I want
But
to
yeah,
talk a bit
absolutely.
about that.
AI is already way more advanced than we are. I think.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, AI. You're talking to a software engineer, so I've got a little bit more of a different, thought on that. AI to me and to the marketers, selling AI products. It's not. It's just. It truly is just software. Yes.
Yeah.
But to harken back to what I was just talking about, the fact that these demonic entities use electricity and therefore computers to affect our real world. When people are saying AI in the context of what we're talking about right now, yeah, no, I realize this term is just greatly diluted
Yes,
right
it is.
now.
Blanket term. Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe the AI is more like a portal for them.
No.
I mean, I think
Well,
it's
I
a
would
form
say
of
it's just.
electricity. I mean, AI is
But AI meaning
phone, I
that,
think, right?
you guys, I mean, AI, it's almost like the Morgellons scenario. Morgellons start 10 years ago, it wasn't the same thing. It's like now it's just like an umbrella, you know what I mean? Like it means more things than it does. Same with AI for us layman people, not like Mr. Smarty Pants here.
Well, artificial intelligence, I'm sure, is everywhere.
Because everything is, I mean, but when now they're talking about, chatbot, all these, all the different things.
It's just software.
It's software, right? It's only like when it takes on. I guess maybe we're giving it more power than it really has.
But at the same time, if if one of these spirit beings truly has good access to a computer system, then they could influence them to the point where you could actually say, actually, we can't track how that happened. That like
they're using the vocal cords or whatever, right?
All I'm saying is that I've had enough things happen to me to prove that these things, like one of their stomping grounds is electrical systems.
Yeah.
So who
Forever
knows?
Blessed just said something related to that. Do you see the comment there on the screen? I've seen that as well. The black goo coming out of the electrical socket. So that gets
yes, it's like Harold Cartvella, Harold, in the black goo.
Yeah,
that is serious stuff. That's no joke.
I had it appear on my coffee table when I was cleaning my house one day and run around doing different things, and there was nothing on my coffee table. So I get up, I go do a few other things. I come back, I sat down, and I looked, and there was this pile of black sticky stuff on my coffee table, and I'm like, the hell is that?
That's what I experienced. That's what got me into this mess was the black goo.
I wiped it up with toilet tissue, and I just left it sit. Well, let it sit overnight, and the next day I got up, and I was actually able to physically pick it up because it had turned into a solid form, and picked it up right off the toilet paper, and it separated. It didn't even stick to the toilet paper when it was wet the day before.
I told you, that's how I got into this mess. I was looking for artifacts, digging for artifacts at the Brazos River, and came in encounter with this black tarry substance that did not want to come off my hands, but it affected my friend Gilbert much worse. Yeah. I mean, he became possessed. His eyes rolled back in his head. He tried to literally that night kill me. I mean, he wrapped his hands around my neck. That black stuff would not come out. And I watched the veins on his arm turn black and protrude. Every vein in his body, his forehead turned black. His eyes were black, and his hands were around my neck. And the only way I got myself out of that mess that night was by saying, I love you. I love you. Jesus loves you. God, his grip became less intense.
There are two kinds of black goo.
As silly as it sounds, it is the truest story, again, as God is my witness.
Okay, there are two kinds, Lisa. There's two kinds of black goo, too. There is a positive, like the positive source, which is actually the is Mother Earth, Gaia. She produces
soil, though, right?
what?
Or no, soil, right?
No.
I didn't know there was any type of good, intelligent black goo.
There is actually, like everything has a spirit. That particular black goo that Harold talks about, and you've encountered when it's the negative, that extremely negative scenario, is
I've heard
there
him
also
talk
is,
about it,
is
but I don't necessarily agree.
it came in by meteorite, they said, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but like people have harnessed it because obviously the negative scenario. But there is a goo or whatever that it is part of a planet, and that's so that was one of the things that Harold was talking about too.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes,
respect
yes,
Harold,
yes.
but sometimes I don't always agree necessarily directly. But I mean, that's because I try to just go with
No, but
my
he was
heart
just
and
saying
my own
about
examination.
not every black goo has to be a negative.
I mean, I've never
taken on-
encountered any other black goo but that. So, I mean, if there's other black goo, I'm sure there could be some good black goo.
Well, I was
I don't
taking.
know any of
Stay
it.
away from goo.
I took oregano drops. I mean, oregano drops internally, and I actually had it come out of my personal area down there into my pad. It was like black goo in there. I'm like, oh my god. So, but the only time that ever happened was when I was taking oregano drops.
Yeah, there's just so many just strange things. It's so hard to pinpoint or nail it all down, but that's what we're all here for, and coming together and listening to everyone's thoughts and ideas is always so helpful. And I love hearing each side of the fence because our experiences are all different and they're important, into figuring this whole thing out, if we're even supposed to have it figured out. But in the end, I think it's just it's an evil. There's an evil, there's a good and a bad side to having it out.
I'm gonna have to cut out, Lisa. I'm sorry, my back
Oh
is.
no, I understand. I love you. I hope you get to feeling better. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, Kristen, I have a fractured T8 vertebrae.
No.
So,
Yeah,
right,
she's
I'm
not
coming
feeling
out.
good, guys. I'm sorry
I'm
about
coming
that.
out.
all right. Well, I'm
Love
going to
you.
talk to you guys later. Okay. Have a good night.
Love
You feel better, all right? Good night. Love you.
Bye.
Okay. Well, I mean, do we want to end it there, or?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have anything else you'd like to add? I mean, it's Kristen's first time on too. Anything you want
Thanks,
to
guys.
do or say, you just go for it.
No, I'm fine. I enjoy the conversation.
Me too. I'm glad you came on. I always love hearing the things that you've told me. Like, you've experienced some crazy stuff.
My rambling on.
No, it's not that. Like I said, we learn a lot from each other. So I really appreciate everyone in the comment area too, as well, because I mean, gosh, I've heard some things that I haven't encountered, and I think that's exactly how we can put those pieces together, and even if it's not meant for us to know the answers, I'm just one of those people that, like, I'm always just trying to find out the answers to things, and inquiring minds want to know. So I don't know if you guys are like that, and I think, like Eric says, it's a stigma, right? It's a stigma personality to just keep treading away and
Sigma.
think for stigma. I said stigma. Well, that too. I have a stigmatism.
No, you're not. Yeah,
it's a
we're not
stigma
stigmatized.
personality. But I mean, seriously, I think that's how we are. We're constantly, going and thinking for ourselves and not necessarily listening to what everyone else has to say. I mean, of course, taking that in as well. But I mean, I think the great thing is that we're all pretty strong in our minds and our hearts, and we know what we're experiencing and what we're seeing. And, sometimes that's all the proof you need, but it's still nice to know that we're not alone in it.
No, these type of conversations are what are going to get us through.
You betcha.
Really.
You betcha.
All of
And
us.
just the support of each other is very important. Just know that there's a community here for you that loves you and understands. And I don't claim to have the answers. Eric he's pretty savvy in a lot of this. I mean, even he's taught me some things that I was unaware of. But I mean, this is your like decoder right here. Eric is a decoder, and I thought I was good. He's pretty good. He's actually the best I've heard yet. So can blow your mind if you haven't caught any of the earlier podcasts. You should listen to him. So anything else, guys, that you want to add? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over.
Well, given that we've discovered how common this thing is with the growling and it being connected to electrical, I want to see if anyone else has any stories like this. So fill up the comments section with anything related.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, we're just like, it's not like we sought each other out for this topic. We just all happen to have like freakishly the exact same experience.
So crazy how that happens.
So, yeah, so I'm sure others have, and type it out. It's just,
I think we owe it, all of us, just do more offset research on just frequency as a whole, and then and then break it down from there, because a lot of what we know or been told is really not true. As far as how it affects us,
anything from the mainstream or the narrative is pretty much
which so right. Other than Mr. Coder.
Yeah, these people have some great questions and great comments as well. I know Joe Buzz, I just read his. So there's a few different colors of goos, and they all have each are different certain functions. I did not know that. I was not aware of that. So learned something new today. Thank you, Joe Buzz. And then, of course, we have Kat. I am the holistic detective and spellbreaker. Says everyone has fungus and on and in them, and it's being used as an interface of the operating system. And yeah, that is true as well. We have good and bad types of bacteria also on us. It's just, I don't know about the fungus part. I wasn't sure how the fungus worked. And I know the fungus goes with Morgellons is not my friend, but she very well may be right. I'm definitely not prone to be savvy in that area. So again, thanks for the comments, because I'm learning different things tonight, and I'm all about learning. Definitely never stop growing in that.
There are a few different colored goos, and they each have a certain function. That's interesting.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
Joe
what
Buzz said that, and I did not know that.
That's what I was alluding to.
Forever Blessed.
You're right,
Yeah,
got a new one tonight. Forever Blessed is joining us. Let's see. Oh, we've got a couple of different comments. So Forever Blessed, however, just joined us.
I like that one.
Hello to everyone.
Yeah.
It should be showing up. There it is. Newbie here. Y'all are brave, beautiful souls for sounding the alarm on this stuff. Thank you. We love you, and you're brave just for being part of it. So thank you so much. Then our last comment here, or the latest comment is coming up. Takes forever.
Who is that woman? I think they're talking about
that
me.
was Forever Blessed. She's a newbie. I'm assuming.
No. Cat asked.
This is Kristen next to me.
Oh, Kat, this is Kristen. She's been with us, just not on cast before. So yeah, Terry, I agree. Most of the bad, negative stuff, yeah, the government created a lot of it, and I think some of it's probably been here from the beginning of time as well. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, that goes to a big topic of the government making some kind of a contract with these fallen angels to acquire technology, mostly focused on stuff that could help in war, stuff that could help us dominate the whole planet via this technology, and in exchange for, this is why I say it's a big topic, but I believe it's in exchange for the permission to abduct many thousands of Americans per year.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing right now? No,
I totally agree.
It's continued on.
Yeah, they didn't stop the treaty. Put it that way.
Well, there's that whole what's it called? The missing 411. Is that?
Yeah.
Is it David
Politis?
Yeah, the whole thing about national parks as being something like a contracted area for people to be able to be abducted. How many? I think it's tens of thousands of people a year go missing, and I think that was part of our end
national parks and forests.
The deal. Yeah, I think that was part of our end of the deal was to let people be.
Atlantis, actually.
Well.
Yeah, I'm talking. Actually, it started and it comes around closer. That was when the first agreement came around.
That's a whole different topic too.
I don't understand that. I didn't say what that was yet.
Yeah, so
there's something big is going on. There's no doubt about it. It's
and So today and Friday night, we're gonna fix it all.
Yes.
I want more.
Everything's gonna be solved right here, right now. So I'm just kidding.
Yep.
No, I mean the truth of the matter is, and some of this wasn't meant to be solved. This has all been written, in my opinion. It's been written and spoken about and expected, and for me anyway. But I mean, yeah, I'd love to change it if we could. That's great. And I do know that Satan hates us in numbers because we've experienced that firsthand. He absolutely, him and his minions are, whatever you may call the evil ones, because I'm sure we all have different languages and names, wording for these things. But we know that there's a realm of good and there's a realm of evil. And truth be told, it exists. We've seen it, we know it, and everyday experience.
Which is why we're all separated. I mean, what are the odds of all of us being in different parts of the country? Which the odds of him, just happen to be here, but
none of us knowing another at one time.
Normally, we're always separated. All of us that are strong enough to talk about it.
Yeah,
and that started with the whole American, everyone's got their own house and yard and garage and complete isolation.
Right. You don't need
that's not a normal human thing to do. Normally, we'd all be
community.
We'd have our own little bedroom areas, but then during the day, we're all sharing tools, sharing kitchen and workspaces. And not only is it infinitely more efficient, just technically speaking, but if there's something that we need to warn each other about in the immediate area, now all of a sudden, the whole community knows about it in half an hour, right?
Yeah.
But now we're all in our own little bubbles with
masks on and not able to talk to anybody,
everyone's got their own everything, completely isolated.
And they're isolated and freaked out because all the stuff came out. We're isolated. First they isolate us, right? And then they say, guess what? All the stuff that's been going, your whole history is false. And all these things, it was very convenient, to say the least.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us too, and this is going back to some of the supernatural stuff, like, I need to put this question out there to all of you. Has everyone had and experienced the orbs? I mean, whether the yellow, the white, the red. Eric's experienced red orbs. Actually, you know what, Eric?
I used to be an orb hunter.
yeah, that's right. I'm just wondering too, though, there's something to that, why it's just some of us experiencing that as well.
I'm telling you, like, I'm riding with a friend in the car and I'm looking out my front, the windshield. It's right there, right? Blinking this thing. But the person next to me is not seeing it at all. I mean, how I don't know how that is.
So it was like traveling with you, and you could easily.
No, he was right with me in my car, and he could not see it, and I even could take a picture of it.
Okay.
With my phone.
Oh my god.
I'm like, is that blinded or what? Like some of us are only allowed, like like deveiled or something. I mean, that's crazy.
Totally could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, anyone that knows my channel, I've got tons.
Otherwise, it'd be utter chaos
on there. And this one right here, I'm going to share this real quick with you guys, if you don't mind.
A part of a Bible verse popped into my head when you were talking a minute ago.
Oh, yeah, let's hear.
Basically, I mean, it's just the classic. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. Basically, I mean, yes, you were just saying, like, we're here among it. It's impossible to avoid. But that's why we were told that, and that's why there's the whole principle of the armor of God. Arming yourself with knowledge, spiritual strength. Yeah. So even if you do encounter it on our journeys through this valley of the shadow of death, then at least you have some defense against it. Not that you should go and seek out the most dangerous places. That
it also says I should fear no evil. So
yeah.
I'm gonna sign off. Love you.
You're going?
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna share this with you really quick if you guys didn't see this. Hold on. Where are you coming from? What are you doing? Oh shoot! I gotta take the window down. I am not very good at this. This was one of my big experiences here that happened to me one night. This thing was so Eric, I was going back to this one was like orange and red, but it was doing some crazy things and maneuvers that, and I was in a back road area where I could have got shot. But I mean, I was freaking out because it popped up, it followed me for a long way. Then it kind of went in the distant, got close. It just did some things that was just so strange. But just wondering if that was like somewhat like the red one you experienced in the graveyard. Probably not, though. I'm thinking now that I look at it.
Well, yeah, this is definitely a much brighter, more active
It
thing.
followed me forever. Seriously?
The things
I've
that I
seen this one
caught.
2 other times.
Onto Kid Lane.
Oh.
Anyways, I was just going to ask you if that was one that you had experienced. So, but yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of people out there that are experiencing that. And I just find that fascinating to some respect that where there's a connection there with so many of it. Well, not so many. There's only a few of us, but like maybe 144 or something like that. I don't know. But there's a few people that are having that in common as well. There's just connecting the dots here. One day, maybe I will. And I know you've been driving, so I'm going to let you go. I'm sure you're tired and ready to call it a night.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Any
I just want to
questions
leave.
or anything you want to add?
I just want to leave people with, don't be fixated on this. Go throughout your day and ask yourself, what can you do that is profitable to yourself or others?
Yes.
Just put this crap out of your mind whenever possible.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to, but I mean, honestly, they feed off of our attention. That's one thing I've noticed and I've learned throughout this. They feed off of your fear. The more attention you give, the more fear, the more they become interested in you. And it is a subconscious level of there's something to do with consciousness in that. Let's just put it like that. But it is definitely, it attracts them. That's all I know for sure.
And such things like this, as I've got all these stories, well, I don't have a lot of recent stories with this kind of stuff other than today coming here. Holy cow. But so I think like not dwelling on it is very good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, definitely not finding the fear factor in it, because the Lord did not give us a spirit of fear, and He is with us wherever we go. And that is the comfort that I have taken, especially because I live alone, like alone. I have nobody that believes me. I have no spouse, no friends here that believe me. So it's been difficult to, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Most of you are like that. It's been a lot to digest. But one thing I've known is that the strength is in you. And I've known this. We have that strength, every bit of that strength to get through this and stay on top, because actually we are already the superior species when it comes to that. And they will not prevail, and no weapons formed against us will prevail. And that's what they are. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to park that bus.
And
all right,
to answer Kat, no, I'm not doing van life. Technically right now, I'm just doing temporary car life. I'm just camping in my car.
Yeah, it's fun to do too. Yep, I'm looking at getting a utility van actually now. That's going to be my next project. But yeah, he's camping like a pro though. He's done it good. He's 6'4", and in his full body form, he's like managed to be in a car, and he's doing it like a champ. So I gotta say kudos.
It's working out freakishly good, but I'm probably heading back home in a couple days.
New Mexico.
And then hopefully I'm able to ride my motorcycle finally.
Yeah,
stupid weather.
I want to get one. I want my bike back, so I'm going to have one by the time you get on yours.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, you have a good night. Eric, thanks again for joining us. And, someone just added one more thing. Forever blessed. Last comment that I'm going to put up here real quick. I'm not sure if it's a question because I'm blind.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Where God gave me a clear awakened vision of the rapture. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely trying to put it up, but I bet that's pretty. I've not heard anyone with the rapture vision or heard about anyone else. So that is, I had one, nothing like that though, but wow. Body transformed to light and went inside the light orb and went up. Well, I've had other people say that God was like, we were like a speck of dust in God's eye. I've heard that. So many different visions and things that they've experienced. I don't know. I just love hearing stuff like that. It's interesting. And it's real. So that's why I love it. All right, Eric, thanks again. And good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate all the comments and all the love and support. And just know that you are also loved and admired, and your strength is beyond what you believe in yourself. I promise you, you have great measure and worth. So
All right.
being you, right? All right, Eric, good night.
See ya.
Hey, everyone. I guess if I can end the stream correctly. So apparently I can't.